Hey everyone, it is Shelly. Welcome to Creator Chats and Tech Tip Tuesday. And I am trying to make sure I get better at going live more often. So I'm here. Let me see if, just 1 second. Just going to make sure everything is going on. If anyone out there, well, it says there's no one watching right now, but if you come on and then you find that you see my mouth moving and there's no audio, let me know. All right. So today's Tech Tip Tuesday is going to be, I had promised I would do this one a little bit ago, and I am going to go into an entire long video about this, but I just thought that I would give a quick general overview on some of the equipment that I normally use to film my main channel videos. And so that's what we're covering today. So I've got a few pieces that I want to talk about. So one of the very first things that I would recommend for anyone out there, hey, Jonathan, hey, if you're out there, can you let me know that you can hear me? I just want to make sure that I'm not getting through all this and then you can't hear me because I didn't want to wear my headphones today. So just making sure. So we are going through a little bit of the equipment that I use to film. So the very first thing that I would recommend, let me show you here. This is an external battery pack, for your camera. This comes in as a major lifesaver, so you don't have to sit there and worry about having your battery be charged or having a spare. So I use this when I'm plugged in at home. I keep my camera usually on a tripod in front of me, and so this little piece just goes in. It looks like a battery, like the EL6 or BN6, and then it just has the regular plug like this, and then it goes into the wall. So basically it has full power all the time. And you just slide it into the battery cavity like you normally would. 1 second here. Latch the door. All right. So when you turn on your camera, I'll show you here. On some of them, you may get a warning message and it says, does it display like the Canon logo? So you have to say, no, it doesn't. And then the next question is, do you still want to trust using this battery? And I'm like, yes, you do. So as long as you go no, and then yes, I still want to trust it. There you go. It's going to turn on. So you're going to have continuous power all the time. You're not going to have to worry about charging your battery. So that is my first tech tip there for you. When my gear, it's always plugged in and it's always ready to go on the tripod in front of me. Okay, so the next thing that I want to point out on here, and one reason what I am shooting on here, this is the Canon 80D. This is one of my favorite cameras. It has lots of autofocus. So, but I would say if it's between the 70 and 80D, because I have that one as well, I would buy the cheaper camera body, just the body, and I would buy lenses separate because usually between the 70 and 80, there's not such a huge difference that you really need to go get the 80. So I would go ahead and get the 70 and get a more expensive lens. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. But one of the reasons that I like the Canon 80D, it does have the flippable like rotating screen, which is really nice. But I usually tend to plug my camera into the laptop and use the Canon software that comes with it. So you can adjust all that stuff on your computer and use your computer as a monitor anyway. So you like using the dummy battery for your G85? Yeah, it's great, right? And you never have to, even though I have like 3 batteries for it, I don't want to sit there and charge them and then find out that it died. So no, I always use the continual battery supply, and it's maybe $15 to $20. So it's money well spent on that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off so it stops talking to everyone. The next thing that's on here is going to be, this is the Rode VideoMic Pro. This is my favorite. It's a little shotgun mic, and honestly, I just keep it on the camera. And I find because the camera is usually on a tripod in front of me, only about 3 feet away, I don't find that I need to have it be closer to me. This is the older style, which if you can get the newer style, I would recommend, because the newer style actually, I cannot tell you how many times I've forgotten to switch off the audio or the power on this, and it drains your battery, and then you come back and the battery is dead, and you can't use it because it's not powered by the camera. It's actually powered by the battery itself. So that's a big pain in the butt when you come back and you're ready to record and you find that you forgot to turn off the battery and it's still on. It's like, dang it. They made an upgrade in the new model where after a bit of like non-use, it actually turns off, which is a much needed upgrade. So this didn't have it though. So if you're wondering, one of the differences between the old style of the VideoMic Pro and the new style, even though this one is a little bit, that one actually might be also a little bit smaller in its shotgun form. And I would say it's worth it just because I cannot tell you how many times that battery thing has really, really gotten me. But anyways, so this goes on a 9-volt battery. It's super difficult to get the battery in and out on this particular style as well. I think they improved that on the newer style where the battery, like how you get into the thing here, because you can't really see it, but basically it's here and you really have to like kind of manhandle this entire setup just to get the battery out. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. So not my favorite, but I think that the sound is really good on that. Okay, so what is this? You're good for 48 hours using the, oh yeah, you're using an Anker battery. I love Anker stuff. I have a whole bunch of their cables and their battery banks, although one of them like stopped charging after a while, which was a real bummer because it was still one of my favorites. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to talk about on here is the lens itself. Like I was saying, I would usually tend to spend less on the body and spend more on the lens because a lot of the time what you're looking at, the quality is within the lens and not within the body of the camera itself. So honestly, if you put this particular lens on even like a Rebel T6i or T7i, Canon 70D, it's gonna look the same because I shoot in manual. I don't do a lot with the autofocus. I set it in place and then I just let the lens do the work. So this is the Sigma. This is my absolute favorite lens. It's a little pricey, so I'm just putting it out there. This is my favorite lens. I have others. This is the Sigma 18-35, and it has a f-stop of 1.8. This is 1.8 on this one. And when you have a f-stop number that has a really low f, right? So if it's like f1.4, 1.2, 1.8, it's going to give you a sharp picture in the front, and then it's going to give you more of that blurry bokeh, like the floating ball lights in the back. You're going to get that with the depth of field with a camera lens that has a low f-stop. That means that, I'm going to put this down, that camera's heavy. It's opposite than what you would think, and we can go into an entire video about this, but the lower the number, the wider the aperture on the lens, which lets in more light so you can shoot in like low light situations, and it's really good for stuff like that, letting in that background. So this is my favorite lens, and one of the reasons is it has a little bit of zoom, not a lot. It's not a lot, but unlike I have the Sigma 30 millimeter, which is a f1.4, so it has an even lower f-stop, so it has a nice blurry background, but the lens motor, if it's focusing, it's a little loud because this one has the HSM or the hypersonic motor, and so when it's focusing, it is a lot quieter than some of the other lenses out there when it's autofocusing. So I like that about this one. And the other thing is because the other is a fixed position lens, which means there is no zoom. If you want it to be closer, you're going to have to move yourself or you're going to have to move the camera closer to you. Whereas something like this with the 18-35, even if it's just a little bit, you can kind of turn and zoom and it will come in just enough so that you won't have to move. So that is my absolute favorite lens. I love the glass on it. It is, it's quite long though. So if you look at, one second, one camera lens in particular, hold on. Okay. This is the Canon, it's often referred to as the Nifty 50. This is a 50 millimeter. It is a low f-stop on this one too. I think it's 1.8. Is that right? 50 millimeter. Anyways, yeah, it's a 1.8 on this. So this has the same f-stop as this one. So this one is only about $100. You can get them used for about $100. Brand new, they're about $125. So big difference between something like this at $125. Again, with a 50 millimeter, this is going to be really like zoomed in. You cannot have the camera super close to you. This would be a really good one if you're doing a lot of makeup tutorials and you're really up close. But if you're in a small room, you're never, you're going to have a hard time with this lens because you are going to be so close, even as far away from you as possible with this. So the lower that number, like on that 18 to 35, the wider and closer in you can be. So I hope that helps with a little bit of the lens, but you can see the size difference between the 50 millimeter, which is also, again, a fixed lens. You cannot zoom with this. And this is that Sigma 18 to 35. So you can see it's quite a bit different, but I absolutely love this lens. It's definitely heavy. So if you're going to get this one, make sure that you have a really strong tripod. This is not the lens to put on a $20 tripod. This, like, get the $50 tripod for this one, just because it's really heavy. So this is also not the lens that you're probably going to go out and shoot unless you're just really, really strong and you don't mind and your neck is made of steel. But it's a really heavy lens and it takes beautiful shots, but man, I probably would not want to be running around with this around my neck. I would much probably go with a 50 millimeter. I mean, you can see, hold on one sec. I got one more. I should have been prepared. I didn't know I was going to get so into the lenses. One second. Okay. So for size comparison, this is the Canon 70D with the Sigma. What are you? You're a 30 millimeter? Yep. Oh, no, it's the 50. Okay, so the Sigma 50 millimeter, and this would be in direct comparison to the Canon. Ooh, ooh. So as you can see, these are quite a bit different. And this one is also very, very heavy. But this one, the motor on this one, even though it says it's supposed to be pretty quiet, ooh, hair, long hair, it's pretty loud. And so I took this one out and I did some photos with it, and whew, it just makes a lot of noise. So I would be careful with that one. But to be fair, here, I'm going to show you here. Like I said, this lens here is going to run you about $125 new, $100 used. I'm going to unplug this. I rolled over it. The lens on this guy, which is the 50 millimeter, this will run you probably $400, $450. And then this guy, which is, like I said, it's my favorite lens. It's just that Sigma 18 to 35. This is the expensive one. It's like as much as it's like $8.99 for this particular lens. If you look on Amazon, under the buy it used price, a lot of the time you can get a really good deal there. And I would take a peek at that because I definitely think it's worth the investment, but it's pretty pricey. So just putting that out there, between those three lenses, you could definitely start with this guy. And I think you would be super happy with it too. Just keep in mind, it's not great for small spaces, but it does have that low f-stop and it's going to give you that bokeh effect. Okay, so that was more of a Tech Tip Tuesday than I thought it was going to be. It was really, we were just going to talk a little bit about what is connected to the camera, and it was going to be about the battery pack. And somehow it went into lenses, but that's okay. Maybe I will rename this video all about, all about lenses. Okay, questions that you guys have about lenses and I guess apparently cameras, because we're going down that route. If you guys watched my videos in the past, I used to shoot with the Canon 70D and now I shoot with the Canon 80D. And if you're wondering what I'm live streaming on right now, it is the Lumix, it's a Panasonic G7. And the reason that I got that one is because it is one of the few, and it's a mirrorless camera, and it's one of the few cameras that also has like a clean HDMI out in a fairly low price point. So you guys don't need any of this equipment, but if you have questions on this equipment, we can certainly go through all of it. Let's see here. We have people out there. Are there any questions? Okay, so I said Modern Day Tech is here. Hey, how's it going? And You Do It is here. And you know what? I'm going to check really quickly. See if I need to. Sorry if you can hear my typing. And I'm going to see if I need to. You may hear me come up here in just a second. Yeah, G85 is also clean out. You need a cam link. I'm using the Blackmagic box, the USB one. So you definitely need something to receive that signal. And then I am broadcasting through OBS right now. No, that's a lie. Right now I'm broadcasting through StreamYard through Restream. So far I've been really liking it, but one of the few things that I do not like about it is that it only seems to support 720, which is not great because I'm shooting in 1080. I want it to be 1080, but it's outputting in 720. So, oh good, you don't hear typing. That's great. So, man, apparently it's just a tech Tuesday, not a tech tip Tuesday. So yeah, let's see. Any of you guys have any questions here? So, oh, Jonathan says I'm too loud. I'm sorry. I'll move the mic back. And hey, Drea. And you still use your iPhone or webcam, and you have a Canon 70D that I have access to, but I haven't used it yet. Ooh, get on that 70D. If you're using a webcam, you're probably using like a Logitech C920, 922, something like that. Those also go in 1080p. And the biggest tip with making sure that your webcam looks good is just making sure you have nice lighting. So nothing wrong with webcams. I have one. I could never get mine to look really great, but you certainly can. And then honestly, I've gone off my iPhone so many times, and a lot of times if I'm out vlogging, even if I have a camera, I'll use the iPhone. I think it looks and sounds really, really good. You use StreamYard? Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. They're making it fairly easy to set up. I just wish they supported the 1080p, because 720 is just kind of like the bare minimum that you can get away with on YouTube, but I definitely would prefer to have 1080p. I do like it so far. I've only been with Restream for about a month or so since that last broadcast that I did a little bit ago. Yeah, I had just signed up with Restream because I needed it to go through StreamYard. So yeah, I signed up for like a year just to give it a shot. Lighting and manual focus is key on Logic. Yeah, I've always found the lighting is like the biggest game changer when it comes to that. And I have to say, I don't know what's going on, but the the Panasonic G7 that I'm shooting on, this set of lights over here above my flower, it looks and it records and captures as if the lights are flickering. But I'm telling you, they're solid. Like, I've unplugged the lights. I've retried to I plug them back in. I don't understand what it is. It's just freaking out where there's something. It's showing the lights as flickering, but they're not. Is that weird? It's two separate strings of lights, and this side, totally fine. This side, all kinds of flickering. Weird, right? And then I guess I should note that instead of the stock lens on the Lumix, I went ahead and got a different lens. I think it's like the 25 millimeter or something like that, because it had low f-stop on that one too, so I wanted that. The flickering looks good. Oh gosh, I'm afraid it's going to cause someone like an epileptic seizure where it's only on like half of the screen. I know, I don't understand why the camera is picking it up, because in person, if you turn around, no flickering at all. So, and if anything, I would be like, if you're going to flicker over here, I guess I could manually go and change my lights, because these ones can flicker. Would that, hold on. Would that be better? Now I'm curious. Oh yeah. Well, but these are flickering now on purpose because I made them. But these were not on purpose. This is so trippy. I don't understand why it's doing that. But anyways, yes. Was there any questions about the equipment? Yes, I am using the Blackmagic Ultra Studio mini recorder. Yes, I would recommend the Canon 50 millimeter lens. No, I don't think I would recommend for the money the Sigma 50 millimeter f1.4. If you're going to get that, I would save up and get the yes on the Sigma 18 to 35. I will say it until the day I am no longer here. It'll probably be on my headstone. 18 to 35 is where it's at. It's the best. Hi, Isabella. This is absolutely my favorite lens to shoot on. Always will be, unless something better comes along. This is it. This is my baby. And Yes, and if you didn't hear earlier, the tech tip part was to get the battery pack. What did I do? Is to get the battery pack like that so that you have continuous power to your camera when you're shooting and you never have to worry about your battery being charged. So that was really the whole point of the video, was to say, get the battery pack. Okay, let's see here. I know. Saying hi if that floats your boat. All right. Man, getting back in is always the hardest part. See what I do for y'all? I just wanted to show you, and now, there we go. Sorry, I am not looking at you for the second while I put the battery back in. Okay, so, well, that didn't work. So that was the tech part. Now it's creator chats. And I just want to say, hey, what's up to all of you guys that are here? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. I'm not sure what you're doing on what day is today? It's Tuesday, right? It's a quick side note. So I'm in PST, but tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. PST, I will be live streaming on the TubeBuddy channel, and I would love for any of y'all to tune in and be there. Come say hi. I could definitely use a friendly face, words of encouragement, all that good stuff, because I always love live streaming on the TubeBuddy channel, but I'm always like terrified up until the moment that I'm doing it, just because I know that audience is so much bigger. So like I do a live stream and maybe 5 people show up. You do a TubeBuddy live stream and, you know, there's like 100 and something people there, and no one's ever mean. Like everyone's super duper nice. It's just still nerve-wracking. It's still just nerve-wracking because like you're struggling on the struggle bus so hard, trying to make sure like all your transitions and your OBS is working, and it's stressful up until the last minute, trying to make sure it's all like up and running, because you don't want to do a bad job. You want to do a good job. But yes, I'm always nervous. The topic tomorrow is going to be basically, if you've been tuning into my YouTube channel every Sunday, I've been going through like the 10 steps on how to start a YouTube channel in 2019. I'm calling it the Finding Success in the Eyes of YouTube. I'm hoping you guys are understanding that pun, because everything of the 10 steps has like IZE at the end of it. So it's like strategize and organize and, you know, socialize and publicize. I thought I was being really, really clever, but then every time I tell people, they're like, what? But, and if you haven't checked it out yet, we've made it through 6 of the 10 steps, but tomorrow on the live stream, we'll be going through all 10 steps. They won't be as in-depth as I've been going in my weekly videos, but if you want to skip ahead to the end and know how it all turns out, then you'll get to see the other, 3 or whatever that we haven't covered yet. And if you guys didn't know, I did create my very first kind of like free ebook resource for anyone who's trying to become like a YouTube creator and wants it. So if you want it for free, the link is in the description box. You can go get it. And yeah. And I have had some people actually like print it out and take like videos or photos of it and send it to me. And it just makes me feel so good that like, it just makes me feel awesome. So if you guys do that, then let me know or tag me, and I will make sure to repost it on social media too, because it's not like very many. It's happened like twice. And I remember all 2 times, but I was pretty stoked about it. Let's see here. The flickering has something to do with light frequency in the frame. Yeah. Oh wait, is it flickering on both sides now? Well, this one is on a variable pattern, so it's going to show up as like weird, but this one is the consistently weird. I don't understand what's happening with that one because it's supposed to be solid. So I'm a rapper. Yes. Hip Hopopotamus. My lyrics are bottomless. You guys are probably too young to know that show. In frame rate. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So Lindsay asked, how did I get the opportunity to stream on TubeBuddy? Okay. So if you guys want a story time, no one asked for this technically. You just wanted a short answer, and I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to give you like the long roundabout answer. But here we go. So I have been a fan of TubeBuddy for years. I have been using them for years, and every time they have a panel and a live stream of that panel, I always tuned in and I would learn a lot and everything, but I was starting to get a little disgruntled because if you know me, I want to see more females everywhere on the platform, in technology, wherever. I want to see more. And so I think it was first on Twitter when I called them out. Or no, Facebook. It was somewhere. And I was like, hey, TubeBuddy, love you guys, but just saying, it'd be really great if every once in a while you didn't have a complete just roundup of only dudes and you had women. And I was kind of being like snarky about it because if you know me, sometimes I'm a little snarky. I was just like, it'd be nice. Could you help? Could you help someone out? And so I actually ended up getting like some sort of tweet or something back, and they're like, hey, why don't you email our founder, or our CEO or whatever. And I was like, fine, I will, or something. And I was just like, I'm sorry, I love your guys' product, but like seriously, does it always have to be all dudes all the time? And I'm like, I want to see women. And he's like, yeah, we'd love to have more women. We haven't had a lot of women approach us about creating any kind of content or wanting to do that, but you sound really passionate. And do you want to make some videos? And I was like, screw you. Yeah, I'll make some videos. I don't know how. It wasn't like that. But I ended up making some videos on TubeBuddy just because. And they didn't pay me. They didn't do anything for me. But I was just like, no, I want to see some videos. And I did. I made a couple videos and they're on my channel still. And then it's funny because it was in a Facebook group where actually the the founder, owner, CEO guy was in that Facebook group, and they had put out a post, something about we have one extra ticket to VidCon, and this is last year, and they're like, if you want it, like first one to respond can have it, just let us know. And so I was like, oh my God, I would love to. And I wasn't first though. Some other person beat me, and I was like, oh, bummer. But I actually ended up getting a private message on Facebook, and they said, hey, this is, the CEO of TubeBuddy. And I know that the other person already claimed it and we were going to go with first, but we know you and recognize you, and we know you've made some videos for TubeBuddy about our channel. And if you want to, if you fly yourself down here, and you pay for your own hotel, we'll cover the cost of your ticket. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, because I'd never been to VidCon and I was super excited about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so excited. I'm so excited about this. And so I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I would love to. And I was like, but because I'm me, I was like, can you spring for the creator track, which was like $30 more, $40 more? And he's like, okay, yeah, sure. And I was like, yes. So this would be a whole other different story time, but I ended up going down to VidCon, my very first VidCon ever. And I got to meet the brothers of TubeBuddy. And while I was there, it's so funny. I was giving them such a hard time. I mean, I was so appreciative, but I was giving them a hard time about how much I did not like their app and things I didn't like about how you couldn't access like canned responses. And they're like, no, you can. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you just have to do this like funny press thing. And I was like, nobody knows this. Why haven't you made a video? And they're like, why haven't you made a video? And I was like, fine, I'll make a video. So I ended up making a video about that because I learned it there at VidCon, but it was just nice. And I got to talk to them and then I know I'm getting all, and I have to tell you guys sometime about how I snuck into the hotel where all of the parties were happening and how I thought I would get kicked out, but somehow magically I ended up with like a wristband and I was in the party with Rosanna Pansino and Manny MUA and Patrick Starr. And I met Philip DeFranco, and I still cannot believe that I missed my chance to call him a beautiful bastard. Like I was just, I was beside myself. Candy John. Anyway, this was the best party crashing thing ever that ever happened to me. And yeah, I met some awesome people at VidCon. I don't think I could ever top. That was my very first ever VidCon experience. And then it was a few months later, because VidCon is in June, July. And then I had paid for a ticket to VidSummit, which is the YouTube conference put on by Daryl Eves. And if you've never been to that conference, I would highly recommend it. It is much smaller, and the talks were fantastic. I could not believe it was all about what happened in those hallway conversations. So I was at lunch. I was doing the meet and greet lunch for Gary Vaynerchuk, who was doing the keynote. And I was sandwiched in between Justin Brown from Primal Video, along with his brother. And I was also on the other side of me was like Steve Dotto. And they're like inundating me with questions about like, why don't you have your email list set up? What are you doing with your like marketing? And why haven't you created a course yet and sold it? And I was just like, oh my God, you guys, I'm so like, I'm so not even there. And they're like, well, you need to get on our level. But they weren't trying to be like on our level. Like they were trying to be like, you need to step up your game. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm a loser. Got it. I will make you proud by next year, hopefully. And Steve was so nice. He sat with me in the lobby of the hotel. He's like, let's map out what your content strategy could look like for, creating an e-course and what those would look like and how much it would be. Like he just took the time to sit there with me. And like at the cocktail party later, like Peter McKinnon is just running around and, and you're sitting there with like Cody Warner. And it's just like, it's such a weird, surreal, like, where am I right now? And like Pat Flynn is there and he's showing off the Switch Pod, which had not yet been released on Kickstarter yet. And it was just this weird tripod. It didn't look even like it does now. And by the way, I totally signed up for that Kickstarter, but it was just, I didn't even know. It was like the weirdest universe I've ever been in before. But VidSummit, totally awesome. I would totally recommend you go if you've never been. If you have to pick one, yes, it's expensive, and that was the thing that deterred me the most. I almost didn't even go, but it was so worth it, just from like meeting everyone and having these conversations and being around all these people who are doing what you're doing. And it's unlike VidCon where it's just about the fan experience. I mean, everyone at VidSummit is learning how to like make money, be a business, like really amplify. Like everyone there is just more serious. And it's not that they're not trying to have a good time. It's just that they're like focused. And I dig that. It was just a completely different vibe. And I went into this in my podcast episode about the beauty conference and VidSummit and VidCon and just the differences between the conferences. But I would, if I was to recommend one, I would highly, highly recommend going to VidSummit. I will be going back this year to VidSummit, not to VidCon, because we have some travel coming up this summer, which I don't think I'll be able to hit VidCon. Plus, I don't know if I could tap last year and like sneaking into the parties that I did. That was so much fun. Oh my gosh. I will have to save that for a different story time sometime. It will be a Shelly story time. I don't even know if that's a thing. Maybe it needs to be a thing. I don't know if any of you are going to VidSummit. Let me know if you are. We'll have dinner, lunch, drinks, whatever it is. I'm seriously stoked for it. I'm seriously stoked. So that's a good creator chat topic, right? So we covered conferences, we covered the equipment in the creator tech Tuesday talk. Modern day tech, you're going to be at VidSummit. Yay! I don't think I met you last year in person, right? You weren't there last year, or I don't think we met. So, yay! Oh, you're going to come into VidSummit. Yes, please come, please come. I know. I still need to book the hotel. I only booked the ticket, and I did it before the price went up for early birds. So I still have to do all the rest of it. Oh man, there's so much to do. There's so much going on right now. I just have to say, yes, work has been crazy, and yes, it's all crazy. I'm so excited that you're coming, and Modern Day Tech, I'm so excited that I will get to meet you in person. Yay! Scully's House of Thrillers. By the way, I noticed you did not respond to my comment, and I hope you know that I was kidding, and I was just trying to just have a good time. When I was like saying to your comment, I'm part of your weekly routine, and I was like, hey, look, I've dealt with this. You're just gonna have to come to terms with it too. I hope you know I was joking, like in a fun way. Like, yes, please come back. We'll make this a thing. It'll be official every week. Yeah, you weren't there last year, right? You should have been there. You should have been there. Yes, we're gonna meet up this year. We're gonna high five. It'll be awesome. So, yeah. That is a much longer broadcast than I thought I was going to do, but I was just having fun talking to y'all. So thank you for keeping me company. And Yeah, it's all good. Okay, good. You knew where I was going with that. Sweet. Okay, so one more time as a recap. If you're free tomorrow, 10 a.m. PST, please come say hi on the TubeBuddy channel and say nice things and be like, oh my God, Shelly's amazing. You rock. All that stuff because, you know, a girl needs some encouragement while she's in the middle of a 200,000 channel. I remember the last time that I streamed on their channel and they were still in the 180s, 190, something like that. They hadn't quite gotten there yet. They were like 185. And it's crazy now just to see like in 2 months, if you like step back and think of it, it's like 30,000. I can't even get 30,000 people to watch any one of my videos and they're growing by 30,000 subscribers in 2 months. I know that they'll probably be like, poo-paw, it's no big deal. But I'm like, that's a big freaking deal. I think that's amazing. So yes, if you're free tomorrow, please come say hi, 10 a.m. PST. And then Sunday, you know the deal. Come back here and be ready for another video. And if you guys like the creator chats and Tech Tip Tuesday, I think I'm going to keep doing them. So yeah, that means the beauty of the live stream is that I don't have to edit it, but that means I might even be upping my videos to 2 times a week. Like, who is she? What? Yeah, sweet. Okay, so I hope to see you guys tomorrow on the TubeBuddy live stream, and I'll see you on Sunday for another weekly video.